live here. We have been discussing,
all kinds of things.
yeah, a few
Not fit,
things.
but a few things we didn't talk about. But you said it's something interesting uh, when we started. Hang on just a second. I am sharing the link to my Facebook. Uh, I've taken Facebook off my phone because it was killing my battery. Uh,
Yeah,
and I told Michelle that's my next step is to get a flip phone.
yeah, I need a nice flip phone too.
I I I just hate I hate being interrupted, and what's bad is I can't get one because I'm using it to work from home to get authenticated to get on my work computer.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I need a new. I was telling the IT department I need to get a new phone when I was having trouble, and they said, "Well, we can't because it's like I can't this isn't working." And I was like,
It's
they
just
didn't
like
have a good
being
solution.
it's like
I'm
being
sorry.
trapped into updates on OSs. It's like eventually the
Yeah.
world moves away from you. You have to do updates that you'd
You're
rather
talking.
not do.
You're talking to a guy using Windows 7 still.
Yep.
So, well, the programs I have that I use won't work on it. I don't believe will work on 10. So I'm not updating until I have to.
Yeah, it can
You
be a
know.
complete disaster to update.
Didn't you have a computer completely crash on you
Oh
when you
yeah, yeah.
updated it?
I ruined a perfectly good
Was it iMac?
iMac. Yeah, drives me
Yeah.
nuts thinking about that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up. But
No, no, that's all
anyway,
right.
you had said you had said that nothing puts more arrows in your quiver like trying to draw comic books.
Right.
I think you know. I'll be honest with you, and I don't know. I'm not watching the chat. I should probably watch the chat. So I don't know how many people are listening. But from my investigations into people that have worked at Marvel, and even some that currently work at Marvel, uh, the money does not seem worth it. You
Well, that's
know,
the point. Yeah, it's the most
God,
thankless task in the world.
God, the money, just like holy cow. There's no way that's worth. I mean, now don't get me wrong. I am jaded when it comes to money because I have a good job and my wife has a good job. So I'm not saying, and maybe that's one of my problems. Maybe if I was, struggling financially, or I had a job that I hated, a day job I hated, but even when I didn't like my day job, I don't know that it would be worth it financially from what I understand, you know. Because I don't. I think at this point, if I were to quote break into comics at the rates that I'm hearing, which are legit, and I hear people complaining about, I think I'd take a pretty decent step down in pay.
Oh yeah.
Um, which is one reason why I'm trying to get fast at penciling because it's like, you know what though, if I could do it on the side, that's the
You,
ticket.
I know you probably really don't like it too much right now, but the a thing that will really advance an artist a lot quicker than he imagines it might is being the inker. You can be a guy that really picks up a lot by Can you imagine a lot of these artists that were very good artists that inked Kirby? They were good in their own right, but they were making probably as much as Kirby by doing. Kirby would punch out the 3 pages a day. They probably were just able to keep up with him. He probably was penciling about as
Guys,
fast
probably
as
wearing them out, man.
he probably was penciling about as fast as your average inker could ink.
Well, my problem with that is I'm not a very fast inker. Um, in fact, the biggest incentive right now for me going, man, I'd love to work at Marvel would be not to ink my own stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got my comic. I was telling Ellis before we recorded. This is page 16 of a 22-page comic. This is issue 4, which is the last issue in the miniseries. After this, I have nothing that I'm working on except for I'm submitting another comic to I have an agreement with the publisher Source Point Press to put this out. Hadn't been announced, but I have another comic called The Big Easy Score that I'd love for them to put out for me, and they're taking submissions right now. So if you have a comic that you want to submit to Source Point Press, I think Source Point Press is a pretty good company. Before the virus, they were going to a ton of cons and selling books at cons, and they seem to be pretty reasonable. Everybody seems pretty cool at Source Point Press. But
I'll have to look into them.
Dude, you ought to submit your comic to them. You just put together a book.
Yeah, it's all done. That's the reason this session is named Curious Accounts. I wanted to announce that my comic is all done, and now I'm weighing. It is possible it may be the only way it's published, for all I know. I mean, it will get the Kindle treatment, but I may also put it on Gumroad as a PDF and see how many of those I sell. I'm really intrigued by Gumroad. Gumroad is a really cool thing.
Yeah, I bought some stuff off Gumroad.
I have too. Yeah, I bought a lot of Mike Hoffman stuff.
Yeah, I bought an artist. Oh God, what's his name? He's a teacher on the side, and he did some figure drawing lessons, some anatomy lessons. He did a run on Spider-Man and did a run on Deadpool. I can't think of his name. It's Mike something or another. It's not Hoffman though. I think it's Mike Hawthorne is his name. Anyway, so speaking of what'd you call it, Curious Accounts, which is your comic book based on short movies that you and I have done. Now, is Hobo's Bindle one of them? It is, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Natasha International has joined us. Evening, I finished my commission and gave it to the customer. He was happy with it.
It was the Dungeons and Dragons thing. Was that right? That's what that was, so. Right? I think so. Cool. A happy customer is,
Yeah, a return customer.
Oh yeah, I mean, man, I do. So in my day job, I'm not called this. There's actually somebody at my work that's called this, but they're not. But I'm actually like kind of an art director in the fact that I deal with artists. I have artists that work under me, and I kind of have them work on various projects. I control their work, and I'm in charge of making sure that everything goes smoothly. And I can tell you, a happy customer is a good thing. Because, man, I tell you, I went through this today with somebody. We had a customer that wasn't happy with this guy's work, and we kept messing with it, trying to tweak it, and it was like once they decide they don't like your art, it's hard to get them back in there. I mean, it's.
I got so lucky.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Well, I got really lucky one time when I was at a video game company where I probably would have very quickly been hanging by my fingertips on viability as being an employee, but the guy that was looking at the concepts I was doing loved them. Yep. And since he was the guy paying the bills for the company, he almost he turned into basically what would amount to a patron by being enthused about my concepts.
Yep, that's you need.
But in retrospect, I look at what I did, and it's like, I think we had us both fooled. It's like,
doesn't matter. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
I had a guy tell me one time at a comic convention, an editor, and he said, He said your drawing style is like a secret language, and he says once you learn how to speak it, everyone will learn it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
always thought that was interesting because uh, and it kind of goes with what you were talking about before the thing where you said that I need to develop a Bible uh, if I want to
Of the
draw
name,
like superhero comics.
right?
And and I think that's kind of like what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's oops. Yeah, I mean, a Bible is one of those things that a guy would want as he starts in on something like uh, a big project. You want it, and I saw this on Twitter. We had a thread about it, about how you can't help but improve as you go along, but that makes your comic book uneven.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like if you either get it from mileage, which is a Kirby. It's going to look
yeah.
like a Kirby all the way through, or you get it by really working it out before you start. And it's just like you can be a genius about noting that pre-production costs nothing, and that's where you ought to get it all done. And then nobody does it. It's like,
It's unpaid work.
yeah, it's like,
I mean, not,
yeah, well, it's much lower budget work anyway. Before you really have to commit to a big project,
but
yeah, yeah, no,
I did that on this though because I developed the look for all the characters. I mean, sorta, but not like I don't think like you're
yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah.
about though.
You did work. Uh, Nasser says, I just watched Shadow of a Doubt. Now that's the one with I think it's Joseph Cotton plays an uncle that arrives on the train that is ready to kill this anybody he runs afoul of, but he particularly hates women with money that are basically his chosen victims. He's really big on picking off older women that are attracted to him. You know,
Oh yeah, that would limit your dating pool.
yeah.
I
But the,
today
but
I
but
listen.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. I don't know. You go ahead.
But basically, his niece, who adores him, uh, at first finds out about him. But it's one of those things. That's how Hitchcock plays the suspense in this one. She has to play it like she is unaffected by what she does know about him. But then, of course, it's going to snap, and all of a sudden, it's going to be obvious that Uncle Charlie does know she knows.
Oh
Where
yeah, yeah.
she becomes the hunted at that point. Good old Hitchcock. Boy, he understood a lot. I just got done watching It Takes a Thief. Oh my God. It was, it's not really one of those movies that you could say that's a great movie. It seems so patchy, and it's got
Yeah.
all this awful rear projection in it.
Isn't that every Hitchcock?
Every Hitchcock has got awful rear projection in it.
You know,
But it's kind of
Hitchcock.
fun. It's got a
Yeah, I mean
charm.
Hitchcock is obviously good, but in some ways it's like, is he as good? I don't know.
Oh, he is. He's a master storyteller. You can't get away from that.
Yeah, but I don't know. Some of his stuff I find a little uneven. But he's done a lot
It is.
though.
It can be. It can be uneven. Yeah, you're right.
So today I listened to a podcast where they talked about is it Fulci that did the New York Ripper?
Fulci. You mean the director?
The director, yeah.
The New York Ripper.
I've never seen the movie, but it's about a guy that is a serial killer and kills women in New York, I guess. I don't know. It sounded interesting. But then you read about it and it's like, there's like, yeah, I don't know. The graphic stuff throws me off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it was Fulci, it would be very bloody. Yeah. Gory.
Okay, so speaking of movies, let's talk about our movie.
Okay.
So Ellis and I have done several small short movies together. Ellis has conceived them, and I've kind of pressured him into doing it because it's fun to do. And so Ellis has came up with the next one that's going to be called Space Poison, which I like the name of, by the way.
Sure.
And the idea, Ellis's original idea, I'm gonna paraphrase it. Ellis's original idea was Ellis would be dressed up like a mad scientist type, alien type, in kind of a darkened lab. He mixes up something in a beaker, and then we cut to, and something happens and it vanishes. Right?
I teleport it. Yeah.
Okay, so then we cut to me, and I'm at a bar, and I'm drinking something, and my drink vanishes, and this drink that Ellis has teleported appears in my hand without me realizing it. I drink it, and then I disappear, and I wind up in a like a catacombs, basically, a walking around a hallway, which we would film in the underground part of Oklahoma City. There's
Okay.
underground tunnels.
This is all new.
City.
This is all new to me. This is all new to me. You're adding a lot. Go ahead.
I am. I thought this. What did I change?
Well, I wasn't sure you ever changed locales. Oh, maybe you did. I don't know. I don't think you did though. In my original, very short. That's the deal. That's the way this sort of thing works. You are filling in the blanks. I sent you basically a blank slate, and you are now filling it in. I like it. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me. Okay. So let me expand on the story as I've conceived it.
Okay.
So last Friday, and I think I told Ellis before we started, my wife had to go to her office. Her office is in downtown Oklahoma City, more or less. And it was on Friday, and I work half days Fridays. So she said, I need to go to my office. I said, well, I'll go with you. We can go wandering around downtown. And we decided we would eat downtown because we've only gone out and ate. This is the 8th meal since the pandemic that we have ate that has not been prepared in our own kitchen.
Yeah.
That includes takeout. I mean, other than that, it's been food that we've prepared. So anyway, so we went downtown, and when we were walking around, I talked to Michelle about the story, and I conceived some filler material. Let's put it that way. So, okay, so it starts off like we talked about, or like you suggested. You're in a laboratory of some sort, and you're mixing up something, and you teleport it. I am at a bar, and my idea is I would be at a convention. Now, forget about a comic convention. We're all familiar with that, but I'm thinking more like a trade convention. And what I want to do is I want to build a small set, like in my garage. It would consist of something that's a bar.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Wendigo thing. Something that would be a bar, and I would be wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and there'd be like a sign. I'd make a sign that said, like welcome opticians convention or something like that. One of those kind of conventions.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be talking to a girl or trying to talk to a girl, which would be my wife. And my idea was she wouldn't even be on camera, that she would have her back to me, and I'd be talking. And my inspiration was, Ellis, do you remember Leisure Suit Larry? The video games.
Yes.
Okay, Leisure Suit Larry was a video games that came out in the late 80s, mid 80s, and it was basically a guy that was trying to meet. The whole point of the game was you try to meet chicks.
Uh-huh.
It was very non-PC, but my idea was I would be that kind of type. I would just be kind of a guy, just, hey, I'm at this convention. I'm wearing this wacky looking Hawaiian shirt. I'm trying to meet girls.
Right.
While I'm trying to talk to this girl's ignoring me. My drink vanishes. I drink the space poison. So I vanish and I reappear and I'm imprisoned in these catacombs, which would be the tunnels under the city. And we would shoot it in such a way that I would walk, and and when I disappeared, I think it would go to black and white. At some point,
Uh-huh.
this would be black and white.
Okay.
So I would wake up, or I would reappear with the flask in my hand too. I want to get like a flask looking thing, like a beaker or something.
Right.
Something that is not a glass looking glass. So I would reappear with this in my hand, and I would be in this tunnel, and we'd film it, and I would be walking, and I couldn't find the way out. We would do it in such a way that everywhere I went, it was either a dead end or a locked door or something like that.
Right.
And I'd walk and walk and walk and walk, and then finally, I would find an exit, and I would walk out, and then we would film me coming out. And I thought what we'd do is we'd go back down on like a Sunday, maybe, and then we would film the rest of it like the city was deserted. Okay, so we just we would film it in such a way there's nobody in the shot, and it would just seem like I'd been transported someplace. I was in prison. When I finally got out, there's nobody there, and then I would at some point I would sit down, and I would not collapse, but just put my face in my hands like I can't take it, and we'd pull in, and then when we pulled out, I would be back in the bar, but I'd be sitting on the floor in front of the bar, and then Michelle would say, "Why do I always meet the weird ones?" So,
That's not a bad. Yeah, that pays off pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
okay, so you're down for that.
Yeah, but it's got to be. My original point was that
Yeah.
whatever I did was something I could do, and then whatever you did was something you could do.
Oh yeah, and they come together.
You said you sound like you're into a teamwork shoot, whereas
Yeah.
I was thinking it was more casually.
Oh, that was their thing. Is I was thinking at some point I would be going around corners and you would be pursuing me.
Oh no,
No.
okay. Yeah, I mean, no, that's just it's an idea. You should never say.
Did you
no
see my drawing? I did a drawing. Did you see my poster?
Hey, Fly Fox Pro.
Fly Fox Pro saw it. I think they commented on it. Hang on just a second. I got it here in my sketchbook.
You put it on Instagram?
Yep. Put it on the gram.
We had something that promised to be a storm, and it didn't work out. It just went right over us.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah, but we could have used the rain and the cool down. It just went right by, and now it's hot again.
There's my poster.
I can't draw tonight. I might as well just give it up. Okay, space poison. That's pretty good.
He thought being trapped was bad until he got out.
Yeah.
So that's my idea.
That's all right. That's a good idea. It's funny to think about how many Roger Corman movies
less of a script.
Had about that much of a script, and that's what they did was they had a really strong posters, and they would someone would see a good poster, and go get some money. Let's make this. Get them excited.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the crux of it is I miss being able to hang out with my friends.
That's sure.
This I mean, I know for you, your days are basically the same. Uh, but man,
Well, they're filled with the background noise of everybody else going crazy, but
yeah,
that's that's different. You know, I would
yeah,
like it to where there were less people in the park because they've got, you know, they're with me in the
yeah.
park versus me having it all to myself.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, you know,
So while most people would want to be out, you would rather be more alone.
exactly. I have moments in the park. It's like, you know, where I have to. I was always a social distancer because for me that park is my big super solitude moment of reflection and plotting out things, thinking things through. It's what do you call that? Meditation. It's my meditation to go for a big walk. And so if I've got somebody else that's close by and our timing is that they are either overtaking me or I am overtaking them, that really throws me. I say, okay, I'm going to get this over with and I'll run past the people that are overtaking me or I'll go off road and pause for a long time on the people that are overtaking me. So you know, so that they'll get ahead, so that
No, we
we get some
we were doing that
distance.
downtown. We were doing that downtown, but I mean, yeah, just because, yeah, you're around people and you're like,
Yeah,
and people. There are some people that don't get the social distancing thing,
yeah.
you know. And I try.
Well,
I'm trying to be
and
careful.
I'm real bad too. It's like I use my usual technique for pushing my way in to buy bacon at the grocery store. It's like, okay, you know, you've loitered around in front of the glass door long enough. Excuse me,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know exactly what I want. You know,
Yeah,
so
I'm sorry
I
that
do
you're
that.
comparing prices of hot dogs, but I know which meat product I'm
I know
after.
what I want. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, we
But,
speaking of the virus, Michelle's boss had to be quarantined. He's in a band, and one of the band members came down with the coronavirus, and they were concerned that it would have happened that the whole band was exposed. Luckily, he got a positive result. I mean, a negative result.
yeah.
It's hard to say that a negative is a good, but it was good in this case.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You want to be negative for the COVID. I'm not sure what Fly Fox Pro is talking about. I guess just his channel. I guess he shows some Disney videos, and he's managed to get over 1,000 views, 300 in the last month. It does give a
Good
guy a
grief!
thrill, a guy a thrill to get response. That's where you get your dopamine from. That's
Oh
why
yeah,
why we like Twitter so much. We get feedback, and I guess Facebook's even worse. I'm glad I'm off of that. So because I don't need any more
uh,
dopamine than I get from Twitter and this. You know what the futile thing about me on YouTube is? You realize I didn't know this until it hit me recently. It shows how dumb, or I guess you'd have to say the word is ignorant. I'm ignorant of how people make money on YouTube. In other words, PewDiePie makes his money because of his numbers, and
oh sure,
you can't even start to make money until you've hit 1,000
right,
subscribers, and
right,
that'll just be a little
because
smidgen.
you
Yeah,
can't do a
yeah.
live stream.
So in other words, you'd have to be, you know, you'd probably have to have 100,000 followers before you'd even see a cent from the monetization of your YouTube.
I've been watching David Finch videos. He does a live drawing video on Monday,
Yeah, he's
and
growing, I'm sure.
it's amazing the super chat. Of course, he gives away. He's got a pretty good. I'm gonna call it a scam, even though it's not really a scam. He's got a pretty good system. Let's call it that. he does a sketch and then he gives it away, and he randomly picks somebody that did a gave him a chat, gave him money.
Yeah,
So
that's smart. That's real smart.
yeah,
Guy's
I mean,
obviously, yeah, he's a great teacher. Uh,
oh yeah, his videos are pretty good.
mhm.
It's amazing how much free information you can get off YouTube.
Yeah.
I had this theory that a lot of these colleges better be careful, with their not
Yeah,
wanting to
yeah.
do in person instruction, because I think if people hang out too long, they're going to realize they're getting this. A lot of stuff you learn in college, you can learn on YouTube.
Oh yeah, easily.
You know,
And the only thing you used to go to college for, or one of the only main things you went to college for, was networking. And
yeah,
if you get 100,000 subscribers to your own YouTube channel, you have
yeah. You
networked.
don't.
You
Well,
can
or if you're
if you just want a job.
or if you're
Go ahead.
doing virtual teaching, you're not going to be doing any networking anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to go to a doctor learned on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I can promise you, there's a lot of stuff that people can learn on YouTube that would probably
Oh
be.
yeah. There's
And
almost
I had
no
this.
Blender.
Well,
Blender's very good about. Not only does Blender try to teach you themselves, there's a lot of other people saying, "I'll teach you everything I know about Blender." So
yeah, they want to get their YouTube numbers up, so they're
yeah,
more than willing to give away that knowledge. But I had this theory too that a lot of these schools, maybe not colleges, but a lot of these schools that are not doing in-person learning, they're having the teachers, maybe not young kids, but certainly classes that are lecture based. And I think if I were a teacher, I'd probably be doing this. I'd probably record my lectures and be like, I'll just play this one again.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when I was going to school, that was typical. It's like you just had a name for it. You called it film day. That was the day the teacher was really taking a break, putting on an
Yeah.
old favorite film where we could all watch that instead of having to teach.
I'm sure they don't do
But
that anymore.
but yeah, they probably don't. They used to have the job of projectionist and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, we burned up a. Oh man, I think of some of the cool stuff I saw when I was in high school. But again, it was teachers usually being kind of lazy when you were showing a film. I'm sure they still do it, but they just watch TV or something together. A shared communal TV experience.
Yeah.
It'll be on a big overhead screen or something like that.
They have these things.
Comes off.
I talked at a school. Oh, it's been years, and she had the teacher whose class I talked to. She had this thing called a smart board, and it was basically a big screen, but it was hooked up to the computer. And
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think I could draw on it. Maybe I could with like a pen or something, but I brought like my portfolio, and she was able to project it. It was like a multi-page PDF, and she projected it. I talked to the students, but I think they can show videos on that, and it basically takes the place of the chalkboard.
What I'm doing, it's really unfortunate tonight. I really am having a hard time drawing. It might be this kind of a little bit about the posture I'm in, but I've got a scan of one of those pieces of Masonite that you gave me, and
Oh yeah,
that's my bottom layer, and I'm basing that. The reason I'm doing this is because they had a Frazetta art post on Tumblr where it was a Frazetta that he did in 6 hours because it was due, and he didn't have any canvas, and he went out and got some Masonite he had, and it's a very famous one of these Neanderthals coming toward the camera, basically. Couple of them, all of them have got clubs and stuff, and they just are as gnarly as can be with veins. They're all veiny, and everybody's seen that one. It was a creepy cover, and I realized that is a whole basically bracket of my favorite Frazettas, because that's what he was doing, was devoting exactly as much time for Jim Warren as he thought he was worth for what he was getting paid or whatever. He was just really whipping these out in about 6 hours and getting them in on time. And that I realized here are my favorite Frazettas. The one where he's doing pick outs and working and just basically doing very kind of sketches in oil. And I thought, well, I'm going to scan a piece of Masonite and try to do a painting where I use exactly, because that's what he did. He, in a very genius way, he used that tone of that Masonite.
Oh, okay.
To be almost everything to the painting, In fact,
Gotcha.
On the biggest figure, the middle figure with the most interest that your eye is drawn to, his whole shadow area on his torso is all Masonite. It's amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, okay. I wondered why you scanned the Masonite in. I was having trouble figuring that out.
Well, yeah, it's the
But
ground.
You want it's the tone.
I want that effect. If I can ever get a decent enough drawing that I want to plunge into it as a painting.
Oh, yeah. A friend of mine that I had that his name is Tommy Patterson. It's a real weird fluke that I knew him, but we hung out at New York Comic Con a few years ago. But he was the artist on the comic book for Game of Thrones when they were doing I don't know if it was IDW or who it was. And I think there's a new artist now, but he did like the first arc, I think. Anyway, I was on Twitter yesterday. I never get on Twitter, but I was on Twitter yesterday, and I saw that he is doing paintings. He's doing a painting a day, and he said, I guess he's got one of those multimedia sketchbooks because he's doing them in a sketchbook. He said, I'm doing a painting a day. He said, I bought all my supplies at Walmart. So I don't know if he's doing acrylic. Surely they don't sell oil paints at Walmart. But,
interesting.
Oh yeah, he did go from left-handed to right-handed.
Had the stroke.
Oh, Dynamite does the Game of Thrones. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what Tommy's doing now. He was a really good artist. Tommy did a deal. Oh, I'd met him a long time ago. So I'd met Ryan Stegman at Chicago Comic-Con, and Ryan was friends with Tommy, and he was trying to get Tommy, I think he was trying to give him a little bit of a push, and so he was kind of pushing him on social media, and so I became friends with Tommy, and we kind of interacted back and forth, and he was at New York, and I met him and his wife in New York, and so we all went out to eat one day. Sorry about that. We all went out to eat one day, one night. It was lunch, and we've kind of been friends ever since then. I haven't seen him in years, but he did a deal. Comics Tribe has a website. I don't know if it's called Comics Tribe. I can't remember, but anyway, I did a Avengers sample. Tommy did a review of, or not a review, a critique of. That was kind of cool, and I still get a lot of hits off of that to my website. They'll come from the Comics Tribe thing, It was pretty cool. It was I did a Avengers sample. I forget what issue it was, but the Avengers are fighting. I think it's Camestro is the I don't even know the bad guy in Times Square, and Bon Amiglia sent me that sample to do, not as a tryout, but just to practice or whatever. Because well, actually, CB had said, send Scott the scripts. They have scripts, and so I did them. And I always thought the Avengers one was cool because I love drawing Times Square. And
Scott is willing to spend hours and hours doing a sample. Send him a script.
Yeah, yep. Exactly. Well,
did you real favor there? Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
just rub it in, Ellis.
Everybody has to experience that. It's like, okay, I'm going to spend all the.
Yeah.
I guess in some cases they'll pay you if you show them a sample that you just did yourself, and they say, "Oh, we'll test you." I guess they can pay you in some cases.
They will pay you for a test. That's why I was careful. It wasn't a test. Or a one time that who knows what they do now. But they would pay people for a test. In fact, he was very clear. This is not paid. There's no time. But those paid tests, my understanding is they give you a time. Your time is of the essence.
Yeah, that's part of what you're being tested for. It's like, can you do this in a timely manner? Yeah.
Yeah, draw us 3 pages and send it back as quick as you can.
Sure.
You know, if you're ever in those shoes, if that's ever your position, I would advise you to turn around as quick as possible. I think they're pretty clear, though.
Turn it around as quick as possible.
Turn it around, not turn around and run.
Yeah, I thought that's what you meant. That's probably the smartest thing to do.
Probably. Someone on Facebook asked, "What would you do if money were no object? What would you do? What would you do?" And I said, "I would draw. I would walk around the city drawing in my sketchbook, and I would never post another picture again on social media, and I would probably get a part-time job as a security guard just to have something to do." Or something. I
should look into the part-time security job, I guess, just to have that little extra paycheck. No, I don't.
Well, I wouldn't advise it as a career choice. I'm just saying, that would be like, what would you do if you didn't have to worry about? I think his thing was expecting people to say, well, I go to Barbados or I do this. My thing was like, because people were like, I'd spend all day drawing and I'd do this. I'd be like, no, I would draw. Immediately, all my drawings would become just for me. You
wouldn't get any dopamine from that.
Oh, I would too. I would go, look at this drawing, and no one gets to see it but me. I always liked years ago. John Byrne came to Oklahoma City, and I asked him if he kept a sketchbook, and he said he really didn't, but he said he would draw, occasionally stuff. But he said for years he kept what he called the sketchbook that nobody gets to see. And he would just practice in it, and it was. And I've seen examples from a sketchbook. That's just stuff he's drawing. It's not. There's not a lot of observational stuff. It's all from his imagination, but it's all kinds of stuff. He said he would experiment in it, and also he would take his sketchbooks and he would throw them away when he was done because he wanted to see them. Which I thought was interesting.
That is a truly internalizing process there to throw your sketchbooks away.
I've thrown a few away that because I've got I got a stack of them under this desk, and I will go through that occasionally. And if there's stuff that I don't deem as worthy of keeping, I'll throw it away. And it's not necessarily because it's bad. because I have in fact, I looked through the other day. I have my sketchbook from college. In fact, somewhere I have one that I had when I was a kid. And I mean, there's nothing in it worth keeping, but I won't throw it away just because I know how old it is.
Sentimental, yeah.
Well, yeah, but there's stuff from like the middle years when I was really trying and thought it was good. That stuff gets pitched.
Well, I went to one of the cons here locally at. I used to always call this my big tub of art, where I had one of those big storage things, and I had that big tub with me. I said, "This is stuff I never even thought I'd want to even try to sell or anything." I just been lugging it around for years. That stuff went over big. You never know what someone else might want to glom onto you that you've done.
Yeah, I think it was probably a mistake for John Byrne to not keep some of that stuff. What's funny is there's a guy named Nathan Greeno who I think he directed Finding Nemo. He's a director for Pixar, but he's in the John Byrne group. He's a big John Byrne fan, and he has a couple of John Byrne sketchbooks that John Byrne has said they were stolen, and he's posted them online.
Interesting.
And they've turned up. Well, pages from what's happened is people have taken pages from and tore them apart. But I've seen some of his sketchbook stuff. But
well, yeah, that's what Fly Fox Post says. It's got sketchbooks with terrible stuff in them. That's what a sketchbook is. Yeah,
it's supposed to have terrible stuff in them.
Yeah, that's
there's a guy. I post a lot of stuff from my sketchbook on Instagram, and it cross feeds to Tumblr. And man, there's a guy on Tumblr just rips me all the time.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's like, okay, dude, thanks for your advice. I'm cool, whatever. In fact, the other day I said, hey, thanks for your feedback. I mean, I don't care.
Is it like stuff like come back when you can draw and stuff like that, or what?
Well, like the other day, it's not a name that you can determine whether it's a male or female, but they said if you're going to draw superheroes, you got to draw them on smoother paper, And I was like, well, okay. I was like, well, I draw my comics on Bristol board, but this is just my sketchbook,
No, anybody. You shouldn't do that too much if someone is basically got it labeled as a sketch. I label almost everything I do on Tumblr as a doodle.
Yeah, exactly. I figure doodle covers a multitude of sins.
Yeah.
The head's too big was a doodle. Come on.
Yeah. But at the same time, here I am doodling, I am sketching, but I'm bugged by, its shortcomings already. Yeah.
Sure. Well, my grandmother Sackett is my dad's stepmom. She was from New York City. And in New York City, she was an Interdecorator. But when she moved to Oklahoma, when she married my grandfather, she made draperies. They used to be big. And when she did it back in the 70s, she did tons. She was always super busy. And I don't know if people even make custom draperies anymore. I think they just buy curtains. But this was during the oil boom in Oklahoma when she was doing this. So she'd do all these big houses and these ritzy parts of town, and she'd make a whole house full of draperies for them. And she would when she ordered stuff, she'd order fabric on the phone and stuff, or be talking to people on the phone. And I remember she had like a little memo pad, and she would doodle on it. And it used to always fascinate me because she wasn't really. I mean, she was artistic certainly, but she wasn't an artist, but she'd draw little figures and little shapes and stuff, and she
was getting her scaled down. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, she wasn't. I don't think she was drawing anything in relation to the job, even though she certainly did some of that. But she would just doodle while she was on the phone to occupy herself.
Literally doodling. Yeah.
Literally doodling.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, that I always thought that was kind of cool, because I'd
Yeah.
see those and go, there was something fascinating about them. And I love looking at other people's sketchbooks and stuff, especially where they've done like Fly Fox terrible stuff. I bought a David Finch sketchbook, and it was all finished stuff. I mean, it's colored. I'm like, well, this isn't what I want. I want to see his telephone
You see
doodles
his
and stuff.
process. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or even just I love. I have a book called Centrifolia, and it's Centrifolia 1 and 2, and it's the sketchbooks of Stuart Eminem, who I think is a fantastic artist, probably one of the best
That
of
name sounds
recent
familiar.
vintage.
Yeah.
He jumped around too much, I think, to be. I mean, he's one of those guys at Marvel. They let him do all kinds of things, but he was always. I don't think what he did that you might have seen. I can't really think of anything. But we do like a couple issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, and then he'd do like 3 or 4 issues, and then he'd be over here and over there. But the sketchbooks of his are just it's just really cool to see all the stuff he's drawn. Because he's a guy that in his sketchbook he draws in different styles, and that's what he's known for in the comic universe, is because he's somebody that can kind of do a different style.
You can
You did a
hand off.
book.
Yeah. He'd be one of these directors in Hollywood that could do comedy or soap operas,
Oh,
whatever.
oh, absolutely. He did it.
You got to do different genres. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. What was the book? He did. Oh, like he did like Ultimate Spider-Man, and it was a little bit different. He did a big crossover book called Fear Itself that had more of a superhero thing, more so than Ultimate Spider-Man. And oh god, what was the book he did? He did a comedy book. Oh, and he did a space book called Empress, and he's done a couple of. He'll do web comics, and then he'll collect them, and those are always drawn in a different style. He did one of his web comics. He did. It's called Moving Pictures, and it's about a woman that works at a Paris museum during World War II, and she has this relationship with the German that's assigned to get all the art. She's having her catalog the art, but he's there to kind of confiscate this art and send it back to Germany. And
Huh. That sounds
he
like
drew
the
it.
plot of the train that you saw.
Yeah.
There.
It reminded me when I watched the train. I was like, hey, but that's more an action. This is more like about their relationship. A lot of it's them like sitting at desk talking. It's very static. And he did like a page of it a week, I think, or whatever, or maybe he did 2 pages a week. Anyway, at the end of like a year or 2 years, he had this book, and he knew he was going to do it that way, and so he developed a style that he knew he could maintain over. I think it was a 2-year period, so it may have been a page a day or a page a week. So he developed a style, and he's talked about this. Developed a style that he knew he could maintain over the course of 2 years, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. I can't maintain a style over a comic book. Aaron Lopristi's latest. I think I have an Aaron Lopristi. I've got a lot of sketchbooks that I've bought from comic conventions. That's one of my favorite things to buy from artists. Sean Crystal put out one. Oh yeah, and I'm talking about the sketchbooks that have sketches in them.
Yeah, like you say, Fly Fox Pro, a head sketch is a quick way to go, and a lot of those drawn in quarters. A guy, those are hard work to show up on those drawn in quarters, and a lot of people would do just a really nice head sketch, and that would be their entry.
Oh yeah,
idiots like me would waste all their time trying to do, a full figure.
This action pose. Well, because you've got it, you've got in your head. You want to tell a story.
Yeah.
And that's and I mean, it's like doing, I didn't do them this year, of course, but I'd do Free Comic Book Day. I'd go do sketches at the local comic shop. Well, I didn't do, full bodied things generally. It was a torso. I didn't usually do headshots, but I'd do a torso usually.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
wish I'd have used
I'm not saying it's an incredible cheat or anything like that. It is just easier.
No, it's just it makes sense.
No one
That's how
talks
you-
about
that's how
Will Spataccio anymore. Yeah,
Uh,
Will Spataccio was a great guy. Yeah, the forgotten image guy, Will Spataccio.
So
Hey,
if you
Fly
want,
Fox Pro was on Drawn and Quartered. He got to 4th place. Very
oh,
congratulations.
really? Excellent.
That may be you may have beat my record.
I was just say, did you ever get 4th place?
I'm not sure if I ever did.
Hang on just a second. I'm gonna grab a book. Hang on. I'll just
Okay.
right 2 steps away.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, that name really brings back memories to think about. Will Spataccio. Think about that artwork of that era. The guy Jeff Lasley that I follow, he calls himself a hillbilly artist. He's been scanning his stuff. I've really appreciated a lot of his scans. I've right-click saved a few of them. He's going through his. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so this is the book. I could see it sitting here. I'm on corded headphones, so I'm kind of tethered. This is the one of Sean Crystal, Sean Crystal, I don't know if he's still even doing comics anymore. And honestly, I'm not a super fan of his work, but he was a teacher at SCAD for a while. And I got this, I think I got it last year, maybe the year before at New York Comic Con. He was blowing these out, and I saw it at a comic shop, and I think they wanted $30 for them, and I got it for $10. But to me,
wow.
and this was signed, but to me, this is almost a perfect. This is exactly what I look for. Now he's got commissions, which,
I should bring out my big tub of sketchbooks. That is my favorite books.
And so I'm not crazy about his style. Is a little brushy, but this is what I like. So he's got these figures, and then he shows how he constructed them. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I'm not crazy about those hands. That's a little too. He veers into the cartoony for me, but I mean, okay, so he's got this stuff up front, which is, there's a lot of work here for $10.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of it. Okay, so this is what I like. These are his. I suspect these are digital because, for example, something like this that looks like, and I know he worked digitally. Well, that looks like a pattern that he dropped in, and these just look digital to me, just the way they're done. But it's his roughs, I think, and maybe his pencils for this, depending on how he works. But it's a whole Batman story. Then he's got this. Now, I suspect these are drawn by hand. But these are, because one, they're a little bit smaller. But if you look at them, you probably can't see it. But if you look at them, it looks like they're drawn on a different format than these up here. The ones up there have more of a cleaner, and by that I mean the grid that they're on. This looks like a reproduction of a comic page. But anyway, these are, I guess, his thumbnails. But look how clean they are.
Yeah,
you get the point. But man, how fast would it be to draw this?
Yeah. You're. But that's the whole point. He has done the equivalent of what we were talking about earlier. His pre-production. He didn't slouch on doing the part that is easy to do. This is the part where you erase, you toss it, you do all these things that make that hard part easier. And he has hit, when you look at Doug to Naples little thumbnails, you can tell that Doug has all the all the underdrawing he needs to go in and do a finish with what he has done as a thumbnail.
Yeah.
And,
So then he's got
everybody needs to bring it up to that level before you go. Have your thumbnails to that level. Oops.
So these are designs for something that he was doing. I don't know if this was. I think he may have done some non-comic stuff. So this may be like, I don't know. Who knows? Could be game. Could be. In fact, at one point I heard he was being trained as a tattoo artist, which is probably the most profitable of any of his ventures.
I guess it could work out to be that way. Boy, I'd hate see the
I'm
there.
out.
Yeah, right away. It's like, no, that's not what I want to use my talent for. Thanks.
Well, my thing is, I don't want to lean all over sweaty people all day.
Exactly.
So, I don't.
The beauty of being an artist is being in that studio all by yourself. Yeah.
Anyway, I think these are self-portraits for he does a podcast. I think he was trying to figure out which to, I don't know what I don't know. Again, I don't know what this, but the back part of this book I love. And he's got some more commissions here. He's got some anatomy stuff, some girls. But I mean, $10. This is a deal for, I don't know how many pages it is, but that's one of my favorite. And I bought a smaller one from him like a couple of years before that. That was just a paper. This looks like stuff from his sketchbook,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's the kind of stuff I like to see in an artist's sketchbook.
Right. That's what I'm all about.
That I buy. Anyway.
Flyfox Pro asked.
Oh, yeah.
Flyfox Pro asked me a question. Said, "When am I going to do another Doug cover?" Well, those Doug covers that I did, I think the only ones I ever did were for gear, and those were guided directly by Doug. I worked straight up off a sketch for those, but I did do them in actual oils, which was kind of cool. And I'm saying them. Heck, I'm sure I only did one. I'm positive of it. No, the only thing I've ever done for Doug is one gear cover.
Are you not doing the drawn and quartered anymore?
Well, it just never works out. There's plenty of the guys that are regulars that, if there's a guy that's been very regular about doing it, and it is work, I'm not going to push anybody off that's doing it. That has been real regular. With me quitting and not showing up for however long, it's like no. These guys have become the new A team. I'm not going to be on it. I was always a little bit of an interloper, even though I had a long run at it. I'm not even sure. It probably seemed like a totally different animal to me. I don't even think Edwin Boyette comes in and runs them anymore. I'll have to watch a couple of them. Get caught up.
Oh, really? They're Edwin free, eh?
I think they are. I got to check that. Someone tell me if they are. Everybody here tells me.
I think you have imposter syndrome.
I was probably one of the few people that saw Edwin Boyette during the Republican convention live moment where he showed up as one of the Hawaii delegates, and it was just a quick moment where they're all whooping it up.
Oh yeah.
So I made a GIF out of it, or GIF, and shared it. And he said, "Hey, when did you see that?" So he didn't even see it. So.
Oh yeah. And you're right. It's pronounced GIF.
Okay.
The inventor says it's GIF.
Oh, good. We got to go with the inventor.
You got to go. Yeah, I saw that a while back. The inventor of the word GIF. It says everybody's been mispronouncing it. Even though it's clearly got a G in it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get I'm going to have to explore this idea of doing a painting with this over the top of this Masonite, because I'm just sketching. I like it. I like what you could be doing with it, because obviously it's a way to add noise. It's a way to get a kind of a quick traditional look, because a lot of paintings are done on Masonite, and a lot of them use the fact that they're still using it, that Masonite as an underpainting basically.
I have a texture that I was using at work as a backdrop for some of my illustrations, of product. If you put the product on something, sometimes it looks a little bit better. And one day we were slow at work, and I was looking, and I found it was a coffee stain, and it was basically like a piece of paper that someone had spilled coffee on. It didn't have any rings on it, but it was kind of a nice texture. I've gotten to where I'll drop that behind when I do like a digital painting or something, and it's kind of cool, just that little bit of texture.
Mm-hmm. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Lighten or darken it.
Yeah, I went to a little seminar at the fairgrounds where a really, really talented digital artist, I wish I could tell you his name off the top of my head, but he was doing stuff that was like giant fantasy owls and stuff, and alpine looking backgrounds that was just, immaculately rendered and everything. Just beautiful stuff. Just the way you would expect someone that had reached the top of his field to do things. And he always adds noise. That's one of his last little layers on top, is that he does a layer that's noise, and he multiplies it down, and then turns it down to about 15%. And so then that's basically the way you unify it in a way, is to say it's all got this noisy texture that is kind of like brings it to life a little bit.
Yep, that's a good way to add a little bit to your digital art for sure.
Mm-hmm. Reminds me of a 50s sci-fi movie. Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm doing there. I'm doing a Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones was obsessed with the bubble-headed space helmets, and so am I, because of Jeff Jones, probably. But no, it's just our generation.
Yeah, you were in that period.
That's what we grew up looking at as our space helmets. So let's see, Firefox Pro said something. Yeah. Earlier he said Edwin isn't on them because he's busy doing political stuff right now. Yeah, he said he's actually a mover shaker, I guess, with the Hawaiian group. He's also one of the guys that he understands that this shutdown is 99% political. And he's tired of it, like we're all tired of it. And so, these laws that come down that you can't open up anything, you have to go everywhere masked, all that's totally political. It'll go away the moment it's over either way. Once it's over, that's over.
Yeah, that phase of the thing will be over.
Yeah.
Then we'll be in the next phase, whatever that is.
Yeah, the next attack. If it's still doing them some good, but I think they're going to understand if they lose in a big way that we better drop whatever we're doing and think of a new tack. Well, Scott, we are 1 hour, 8 minutes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so before we go,
okay,
you're good with what I came up with for the
absolutely.
For the movie.
Anything you come up with, but understand that my concept was anything you came up with was something you could do on your own, to where I was just the conduit for taking it into iMovie. I do mine, you do yours, and I would mate them up with miscellaneous cuts and stuff like that. And then that would be how we went on it. It's kind of a coronavirus notion of how to do things, but we could get together and do something. We could get together.
We need. Well, the problem is, I thought about this. The problem is, you can't go in the tunnel without a mask, so we can't film the tunnel part until the mask mandate ends.
Yes.
So So, but that's okay. It's
You
too hot
literally
to
can't be in. You can't be in the tunnel without a mask, huh?
at all. And yeah, you cannot be in the tunnel without a
Oh,
mask, which
that's awful. Hey, that came out pretty good, Scott. That your
which one? My
the big truck with the big kraken in the back. Yeah,
yeah.
that looks good.
Uh, yeah. So the deal is they're driving down the desert and and she says something like, "I smell sushi," and they
Yeah,
go, "Holy crap, it's a kraken!" And so she shoots it, and the glass breaks, and so the kraken comes out, and the truck wrecks, and they go on. And
very
that's
cool.
page 16 of Heaven's Rejects.
Very cool.
So we'll
So
see.
look
After
for
I get
that.
this done, yep, look for it. I got 6 more pages. I'm gonna try and hammer them out.
Everybody
Maybe.
here should be paying attention to my Twitter. I will be announcing shortly wherever Curious Accounts is going to be ending up and where you can get it. Hey, guys, thanks for showing up, Fly Fox and Natasha and whoever else showed up today and
Thanks for
interacting with
watching.
us.
Yeah,
I guess
stay safe.
I'll end it now. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.